Hi, I'm Richard Bellis, and this video is about sonic competition, which is exactly what you're hearing now. All right, that's a little better. Now, as I was saying, this video is about sonic competition and how to avoid it. In order for music to do its job in a film or television show, it first must be heard. And in order to be heard, the composer must be clever and skillful. You see, music will never win a sonic competition. Dialogue, sound effects, and then music. The best chance that music has is when the composer avoids sonic competition altogether. You know, for years, teachers of film scoring, including me, have been describing the spotting session to their students as the meeting with the filmmaker when you decide where the music will go and what it'll be saying. Well, that's almost correct. But I'd make one important change. Where the music is. When the film composer leaves the spotting session and returns to the office or studio, he starts to design a cue. Designing a cue or a score calls for a similar thought process as that used by architects. And when the architect begins to design a building, he must first consider how the building will be used, what purpose it will serve. The composer must do the very same thing, define what the music is adding to this scene, what purpose it will serve. Next, the architect needs to design around existing structures or obstacles and observe legal restrictions and regulations. If the design fails to comply with the city regulations, the building simply won't be built and consequently will never serve the purpose for which it was intended. If the composer's score does not take into account the sonic limitations of the film, it will not be heard and consequently will never serve the purpose for which it was intended. The second unit, the camera crew, which is often shooting establishing shots, exteriors, or scenic vistas, may not even have a sound man as part of their crew. For example, in a street scene where a bus pulls up to the bus stop and lets passengers off, there may be no sound at all until the dub, which is also called the final mix. So the composer must imagine the sounds that bus will make. The first is called registration, and this is the process of diagnosing the sonic register of the competition, dialogue or sound effects, and writing the music in a different range or register. Here's an example using the register of my voice. I've diagnosed my register as maybe a fifth, between this B flat and the F above. So knowing that, I should be able to give you an example of registration. So knowing that, I should be able to give you an example of registration. Now, here is the sketch page I designed and use. 3 systems or groups of 6 staves each. The number of staves may vary, but the most important thing about this sketch page is that there are no bar lines. When there are bar lines on your empty sketch, the very first thing you must do is to choose a time signature. In other words, you would have to define how many beats will be in each bar. With this page, all you do is choose a tempo before you start to enter the important dialogue and dramatic events. Still without bar lines, I place these events on the sketch. In the upper left-hand corner, I put the tempo and the SEMPTI start of the cue. And here are the events I wanted to see. Sky fades in, title fades in, title fades out, cut to the river, and so on. Now, let's just take a brief moment to see how we figure out where an event will happen, what click it will happen on or near. And here is the sequence the way it was recorded.